What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. So as you guys know, I had a pretty rough time at the track last weekend. I was chasing some issues that I really couldn't figure out there at the track. I got the car back home and I have figured out what was wrong with it. I mean, this is a pretty new problem to me. And before I tell you the problem, kind of give you a little backstory of some of the things that have changed on the car this year. So I did change to a stronger ignition system this year. And I actually changed to the MSD Pro 600. It's way overkill for my setup, but I figured I can grow into it over time. I buy one ignition system and never need another one. This is pretty much the most powerful coil-on system you can buy. Extremely powerful. It's a CDI box, so it's different than an inductive coil. The CDI is a really short hot spark, whereas your inductive coil, like your smart coils and your LS coils and all those types of coils, are a longer, weaker spark. So it has a box right here. Hopefully you guys can see. It's kind of dark in here, but there's the box right here. It's mounted in here, kind of out of sight, out of mind. And then it has a dedicated power ground, and then it has the coil wires that run to the inputs on the coils, and then obviously spark plug wires that run over to where the spark plugs are. And as you can see, I've got my stock coils on right now, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But this system is capable of putting out 680 millijoules of power. That's how MSD rates their ignition systems. And from the research that I was able to find, your typical inductive coil is anywhere from like 100 to 200 millijoules. So this thing's capable of a very hot spark. Really similar to a magneto that you would see on like a Top Fuel engine or a Pro Mod or something like that. Just without the problems of a magneto. A lot of guys like Stevie Fast and some other really fast guys have switched to this ignition system. So that brings me to what the issue ended up being with the car. Above 22 pounds of boost, because in the Holley you can set up how much power not power, but you can set up by percentage how much power the ignition puts out at whatever parameters you want to program into it. I had the Pro 600 going to 100%, which is like 600 millijoules. Around 22 pounds of boost, it would go to 100%. And after a while, I started having issues above 22 pounds of boost. So over the weekend, I did end up having a fuel pump issue, which I fixed. But little did I know I had an ignition issue as well. It just wasn't my weekend. So turns out these spark plug wires, these are trick flow spark plug wire. These wires are not happy whenever you put 600 millijoules of power through them continuously. And what happened, I've already repaired this one, but what happened is, for anyone that's ever built spark plugs, for anyone that's ever built spark plugs, the way you do these things is you strip the outer portion of the spark plug wire off and expose the core, and then you fold the core back onto the wire and you put this crimp on and crimp it down. Well, where the core comes out of the wire right here was completely burned up on 3 of my plug wires. Number 1, number 5, and number 6 were completely burned up. And it was a problem that was hard to track down because the spark would still get to the plug, it would jump the gap, and it would still fire idle. But whenever the car got into boost and had a lot of cylinder pressure, the power to ignite the spark plug just wasn't there. And so what I was experiencing was pretty much spark blowout. I was getting spark blowout, and I got a couple of misfires. And the car just wouldn't do anything. It would just fall on its face. And it cost me the race. So I wasn't very happy about that. But that's part of racing, and you know, I'm always learning something every time I go to the track, and this was a new lesson learned. So I've got some new spark plugs on order. I was hoping to go race this weekend, but Summit decided to ship my spark plugs by USPS, and USPS is usually pretty slow, and it's been like a week and I'm still waiting on plug wires. moving forward, I'm not going to run that CDI box on 100%. I'm going to run it on like 50%. That should be plenty of power to ignite the small amount of fuel and cylinder pressure that I have in this engine. And hopefully that'll allow me to keep my spark plug wires alive and not have to replace them every 5 or 6 passes. I did put the stock coils on, and that was just to rule out any issues with any other part of the engine, because I was starting to worry that I may have had a mechanical issue. I put the stock coils on and went out and made a hit on like 16 pounds, and the car felt great and it ran smoother than it has in months, because I did not know that I had spark plug wires that were going bad, and probably been bad for a little while. So that's been costing me ET and mile per hour as well. So I'm really ready to get these new spark plug wires and get this thing running right again and get out this weekend and race. But I wanted to give you guys an update of what the issue was, because it's definitely a new issue to me. Really good ignition system, just a little too strong. Whenever you start changing things and whenever you start changing things from a combo that worked to new stuff that you've never used before, there's going to be a learning curve. And I'm in that learning curve right now. I feel like I've been in a learning curve for the past 2 years. So I've almost got this set up completely figured out. And once it's figured out, it's gonna be really good. It's gonna do exactly what I want. We're running a 7 this year. This thing is doing a 7 at my nats. I'm gearing it for a quarter mile for my nats. And the goal is to go a 7 off the trailer. I know that sounds like a pretty hefty goal, but I know what it takes, and I know what I have to put in the tune to make this car do it. So that's the issue, guys. Hopefully I get those plug wires this week. I'm going to try and get out to Jackson Dragway this Friday. The prep is really good there. I want to get out and really lean on this thing and see what it can do. Maybe get back down into the 5 teens and maybe even faster than that. That's the plan. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. More racing to come. Like always, comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.